Most people don't lose because they're weak. They lose because their mind quietly gave up long before their body did. And nobody notices it happening until it's too late. Life doesn't crush people all at once. It wears them down slowly. A little disappointment here, a quiet failure there, a promise that didn't come through, a version of yourself you thought you'd become, but didn't. That's where mindset begins. Not in motivation, not in confidence, but in the private conversation you have with yourself when things stop going your way. Most people never hear that voice clearly. They just feel tired, bitter, numb. They think they need rest, luck, or a break. What they really need is control over how they interpret what's happening to them. Because events don't break people, meaning does. Two people can live the same hardship. One grows sharper, calmer, more grounded. The other collapses inward, angry at the world, ashamed of themselves. The difference isn't intelligence. It isn't talent. It's the story they tell themselves when no one is listening. A weak mindset says, "This shouldn't be happening to me. This means I'm failing. This proves I'm not enough." A strong mindset doesn't romanticize pain. It doesn't pretend everything is okay. It simply says, "This is what is required now. Deal with it." That's the cold truth most people avoid. Your mindset decides whether pain becomes information or identity, whether struggle becomes a lesson or a life sentence. And here's the part nobody likes hearing. If your life feels stuck, heavy, or directionless, it's not because you lack potential. It's because your thinking has been repeating the same patterns for years. Same reactions, same excuses, same emotional responses to new situations. Different days, same mind. Mindset isn't about being positive. That's shallow, temporary, weak. Mindset is about being accurate. Seeing reality clearly, without panic, without self-pity, without lies. Once your mind stops exaggerating pain, once it stops personalizing every setback, once it stops demanding fairness from a world that never promised it, you become harder to break. Not louder, not arrogant, just grounded. And from that place, real change starts. Not fast, not flashy, but permanent. At some point in life, hope gets tired. It stops showing up for you. And when it does, whatever is left inside you decides who you become. People like to talk about hope. It sounds good. It keeps conversations light. But hope is fragile. It depends on things going right. Discipline doesn't. Discipline is what shows up when nothing feels meaningful anymore. When the excitement is gone. When progress is invisible. When you're doing everything right and life still isn't responding. That's the moment most people quit. Not loudly, quietly. They stop pushing. They stop caring. They lower the standard just enough to survive. And they tell themselves it's temporary. It rarely is. A strong mindset understands something painful early on. No one is coming to save you. Not motivation, not inspiration, not the right time. Waiting for the right feeling is how years disappear. Discipline isn't intensity. It isn't aggression. It's loyalty to a decision you made on a clear day, even when today feels foggy, heavy, and pointless. Most people don't fail because the goal was too hard. They fail because they kept renegotiating the rules with themselves. I'll do it tomorrow. I deserve a break. I'll start again when I feel better. That inner negotiation is where character erodes. A disciplined mind doesn't argue. It executes. Not because it feels good, but because it was decided, and that decision becomes an anchor in chaos. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you can't trust yourself to do small, boring, uncomfortable things, you can't trust yourself with big dreams. Consistency reveals who you really are. Not when people are watching, not when praise is guaranteed, but in silence, in repetition, in days that feel identical and unrewarded. This is where mindset becomes identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying. You become someone who acts, regardless of mood. That shift is quiet. No one applauds it, but it changes everything. Because once your actions stop depending on emotions, life loses its power to control you. And that's real strength, not confidence, not bravado. Control. Pain doesn't ruin lives. Avoiding it does. Running from it quietly shapes the life you end up trapped in. Most people spend their lives trying to escape discomfort. They numb it, distract from it, rationalize it. They scroll, they sleep, they stay busy. Anything except sitting with what hurts. But pain isn't random. It's precise. It shows you where you're still lying to yourself, where you've settled, where you've been avoiding responsibility. The mind with no tolerance for pain stays small. It chooses comfort over growth, familiar suffering over unfamiliar effort. And over time, comfort becomes a cage. A strong mindset doesn't chase pain, but it doesn't flinch when pain arrives. It listens, because pain carries information you can't get anywhere else. It tells you when something matters. It tells you when you're off course. It tells you when a chapter is over, whether you're ready or not. Most breakdowns don't happen because life was too hard. They happen because someone kept ignoring the signal until it became unbearable. There's a quiet strength in people who've learned how to sit with discomfort. They don't panic under pressure. They don't rush to escape hard moments. They breathe. They observe. They act with clarity instead of emotion. That's not toughness. That's familiarity. They've been here before. Pain stops being terrifying once you realize it passes. But the lessons stay. The cold truth is this: the life you want requires a version of you that doesn't exist yet. And pain is the bridge. You don't cross it by wishing. You cross it by staying present while everything inside you wants to run. That's how resilience is built. Not in dramatic moments, but in quiet endurance. And once you stop seeing pain as punishment, you stop resenting life. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? That question changes everything. The moment you stop blaming anything outside yourself, your life gets harder and finally starts moving forward. Most people say they want freedom, but what they really want is relief. Relief from pressure, relief from responsibility, relief from the weight of their own choices. Freedom doesn't work like that. Freedom is earned through ownership, and ownership is uncomfortable. It means admitting that where you are, financially, mentally, emotionally, is largely the result of what you've tolerated, repeated, or avoided. That truth stings because it removes the comforting idea that someone else is at fault. But it also gives you something rare: control. A weak mindset asks, why did this happen to me? A strong mindset asks, what part of this is mine to carry? Not because life is fair, but because responsibility is the only place power lives. Blame feels good in the short term. It protects the ego. It numbs the shame, but it quietly robs you of momentum. Every excuse you accept becomes a limit you agree to live under. Responsible people don't complain less because life treats them better. They complain less because they've learned something brutal and useful. Complaining doesn't change outcomes. Action does. Taking responsibility doesn't mean hating yourself. It means respecting yourself enough to stop lying. It means saying, I didn't show up. I chose comfort. I avoided the hard conversation. I stayed longer than I should have. And then doing something about it. That's where self-respect is built. Not in affirmations. Not in pretending you're okay, but in facing what you've been avoiding and handling it without drama. Once you accept responsibility, something strange happens. You stop feeling like a victim of life. You start feeling like a participant again. Problems become tasks. Pain becomes feedback. Fear becomes a signal, not a stop sign. That's freedom. Not the absence of struggle, but the knowledge that whatever comes, you can respond. And that knowledge hardens you in the right way, quietly, permanently. Most people don't fail because change is impossible. They fail because staying the same hurts less than becoming someone new. Change sounds exciting from a distance. New habits, new mindset, new life. But up close, change feels like loss. Loss of identity, loss of certainty, loss of the version of yourself you've been defending for years. So people delay it. They say they're working on themselves. They say they're getting ready. They say they'll start when things calm down. Life rarely calms down. The real reason people don't change is simpler and harder to admit. Change exposes the lie that you've been telling yourself. The lie that you're doing your best. The lie that circumstances are the real problem. The lie that more time will somehow fix what more courage hasn't. A strong mindset understands this. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits and the standards you allow. Change requires you to outgrow your old excuses, and that feels like betrayal to the old version of you. So most people stay loyal to who they've been, even when it costs them who they could become. There's comfort in familiarity, even when it's painful. At least you know how to survive there. The unknown demands something most people resist. Personal responsibility without guarantees. No applause, no reassurance. Just action, day after day, without proof it will work. That's why real change is quiet. It happens when no one is watching. When motivation is absent, when progress is too small to celebrate. And that's why it's rare, because it asks you to sit with discomfort long enough for your identity to shift. Not, I'm trying, but this is who I am now. That shift is slow, sometimes lonely, often misunderstood, but it's also where life starts responding differently to you. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And most people never stay long enough in that discomfort to find out what's on the other side. No one sees the moment you decide to respect yourself. There's no announcement, just a small, lonely choice, and everything changes from there. Self-respect isn't confidence. It's not loud. It doesn't need to be seen. It's built in moments no one claps for. When you keep a promise you could have easily broken. When you stop explaining yourself to people who don't listen. When you walk away, even though staying would be easier. Most people think self-respect comes from achievement. It doesn't. It comes from alignment, from doing what you said you would do, especially when it costs you comfort. Every time you lie to yourself, something erodes. Every time you delay what you know must be done, it weakens. Not dramatically, quietly. And over time, that quiet erosion becomes shame. Not the loud kind. The dull, constant feeling that you're capable of more, but avoiding it. A strong mindset treats self-respect like a non-negotiable. Not because life is perfect, but because dignity is. You don't wait to feel worthy. You act worthy first. That means boundaries. With people, with habits, with your own excuses. It means choosing long-term peace over short-term relief. Choosing silence over pointless reactions. Choosing effort over comfort, again and again. This is the part nobody romanticizes. It's lonely to outgrow your old patterns. Lonely to stop oversharing. Lonely to stop seeking validation. But that loneliness is temporary. What replaces it is something solid. A quiet trust in yourself. You know you won't abandon yourself when things get hard. You know you'll show up without drama, without excuses. That trust becomes a foundation. From it, confidence grows naturally. Calm replaces anxiety. Strength replaces desperation. And eventually you stop needing life to go easy on you because you've learned how to carry yourself through anything. That's self-respect, built slowly, privately, permanently. Life doesn't stop testing you once you learn the lesson. It tests whether you've truly changed. At some point you realize something quietly sobering. Life isn't going to get easier. You're just expected to get stronger, not harder. Not colder in a bitter way, stronger in a grounded, unshakable way. A strong mindset doesn't expect fairness. It doesn't demand closure. It doesn't wait for permission. It adapts. People who survive, and more importantly, endure, don't do it by winning every battle. They do it by refusing to fall apart when they lose. They don't dramatize pain. They don't identify with suffering. They extract what's useful and keep moving. That's what makes them dangerous in the right way. They can be disappointed without becoming bitter. They can be alone without becoming desperate. They can fail without losing self-respect. Because their identity isn't built on outcomes. It's built on principles. Show up. Tell the truth. Do the work. Carry your weight. Over time, these principles harden into character. And character is what life respects. Not words. Not intentions. Not potential. Character. This is where mindset stops being theory and becomes a way of living. You stop asking life for easier days. You start building stronger internal standards. You stop chasing motivation. You become disciplined. You stop fearing pain. You listen to it. You stop blaming. You take responsibility. You stop negotiating with weakness. You move anyway, and slowly, almost without noticing, you become someone who can be trusted with more. More pressure, more responsibility, more silence. That's the quiet reward. Not happiness in the shallow sense, but stability, clarity, self-command, a life that doesn't collapse when things go wrong, and when the world tries to break you again. Because it will. You won't be surprised. You'll stand there, calm, unimpressed, not because you're invincible, but because your mindset is no longer fragile. And that's everything.